我们今天来学习 become 这个动词。2024年3月13日，每日遛英语 become。前言，我们今天来学习 become 这个动词。你们别以为这个字没啥稀奇，不就是变成吗？包括变质、变臭、变烂、变坏、变酸。
Became stale, became rancid, became rotten, became spoiled, became sour.
这似乎不难吧？前两句我们先来复习，热身一下。井号一，变得成熟 become mature。
The young kids have become mature.
这群小伙子已经变得成熟了。井号二，变得温暖 become warmer。
The spring weather has become warmer and warmer.
早春的天气变得越来越暖和了。井号三，开始想做老师 become a teacher。
When did you first want to become a teacher?
你第一次是在何时想做一名老师的？注 become 这里等于 be。
Number 4. What becomes of us? What would become of us? What's become of us? Of what it would become. What have we become? What would we become? What would have become of us?
以上这7句都是对的句子，大家先预习一下，看看是否都能知道以上句子的意思。
If it wasn't for my mother, God knows what would have become of us. What becomes of us? What becomes of us if we don't take action to address climate change? I often wonder, what becomes of us after we pass away? What would become of us? What would become of us if we lost our jobs unexpectedly? If we made this risky decision, what would become of us? What's become of us? It's disheartening to see what's become of us after all these years of friendship. I don't recognize our neighborhood anymore. What's become of us? Of what it would become. We need to consider the consequences of what it would become. If we implemented this policy. The proposal outlines the potential of what it would become if fully realized. What have we become? Looking at the state of the world today, what have we become as a society? After all this hardship, what have we become as individuals? What would we become? If we pursued our dreams fearlessly, what would we become? I often wonder, given different circumstances, what would we become? What would have become of us? If we hadn't met that fateful day, what would have become of us? Sometimes I ponder what would have become of us if we hadn't taken that chance. What becomes of us? With the company restructuring, what becomes of us long-term employees? If we don't take action on climate change, what becomes of us and future generations? What would become of us? If our parents hadn't immigrated here, what would become of us? Without access to education, what would become of us as a society? What's become of us? Look how divided we are nowadays. What's become of us as a nation? After years of hardship, what's become of us and our youthful dreams? Of what would it become? If not nurtured properly, of what would this seedling become? Without proper guidance, of what would these troubled youth become? What have we become? The values we once stood for, what have they become? Our close friendship after that argument, what has it become? What would we become? If we followed that path of greed, what would we become? Without our moral compass, what would we become as human beings? What would have become of us? If we hadn't met that mentor, what would have become of us professionally? If not for that lucky break, what would have become of us during the recession?
吴老师编辑整理